Well, hey there. Whoa, hey there. Welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome to chill games and chill movies. This is another episode of me talking about movies that I've watched recently while I play video games that are chill, and we're just here to have a good time and hang out. I haven't done a video for a while and I want to be doing that. So yeah, and full disclosure, I did record when was that? A week ago or so. I don't know, a little while ago. Uh, See, I'm already catching myself, but it's been a while since I have recorded videos, and so my brain is not hardwired to talking while playing games. So it was all sorts of uhs and ums, and it was just a little painful for me to listen to while I was editing it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna just scrap all of that, and we're gonna do another recording because it's just so much better for me to record instead while I'm like sick and I sound all stuffy and nasally, and I have a little bit of a cough that might appear here and there that I'll have to cut out. So anyhow, I also, for now I am gonna be just uh I'm gonna be playing while I'm recording, and eventually I will start doing lives again. That's the goal, is for these to be live, but when you're recording live, and when you're recording live in a forest and there's no trees that fall over, does everyone hear them or whatever? You know what I mean? And so yeah, we'll get there eventually. But so anyhow, our goal in this park right now is to have 10 roller coasters that have an excitement rating of 10 or 7, right? 7. Let's see. Where's our thing here? Oops. D. 6. Only 6. See, it's easy. And I think I'm pretty darn close, because we got 1. I'm assuming this one is, since I built it. 2. Okay, cool. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know this one's not. And 7? Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Yeah, so just a few more roller coasters. I'll probably just blow through them real quick just to get done with this map. I did see that apparently my guests are upset by the length. Oh my god, look at that. That is a monster line. For a spinning wild mouse ride, that is way too big of a line, so we're gonna just go like this. Sorry, folks. No more line for you. Alright. I've got my letterbox pulled up here, so we're going to talk about movies that I have watched in the past few weeks. So one movie that I have watched recently in the movie theater, but not a new movie, was Princess Mononoke. They were doing a re-release of the movie in IMAX, and it's pretty. They do the Studio Ghibli Fest thing every year, it seems, and this is a part separate from that, it's just a anniversary release type of deal, so super cool. They cleaned up the look of it a little bit, and I don't know how much they did clean up the audio. It didn't really seem like they did that much audio cleaning. It did sound pretty old, pretty 90s, but that's okay. It's still fresh. But it did look great, and um, it's just an impossible thing. It's just impossible for me and my brain to be doing this and talking, I guess. But this is how we grow as people. We learn from our mistakes and change and become better at the things that we want to do. Like talking about movies to nobody. So anyhow, it was a very good time. It was a lot of fun to see the movie. Princess Mononoke is actually the I'm gonna say it's the no, I think I've seen Spirited Away at the Ghibli Fest that they do. But I've now seen Mononoke twice in the movie theater. And I've seen it once at home, so I've seen it more in the movie theater than I have at home, which is fascinating. I do really like Princess Mononoke a lot. I feel that it's always, not always obviously, but the big two in terms of Miyazaki movies that people talk about are either Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away in terms of their favorites, and Spirited Away will always be my favorite. I know, part of that is nostalgia. That was the one that I kind of grew up with and have always watched. But I do also think it's just sort of better movie. I think it's structured a little bit better. The flow of, let's see, is that even? It kind of seems like it, close enough. Just in terms of like story flow and where everything goes throughout the movie, I just sort of feel that Spirited Away has a lot better. Spirited Away just has a lot better, yeah, just kind of flow. A lot of the times during Mononoke, for me, it gets to points where I like, okay, yep, like we can kind of maybe skip past some of this, or damn, let's see. So if people are complaining about the wait times on rides, you can put these TV screens, and that will help. And you can also hire a entertainer and place them. Oops, there's Wody. Place them just only to work in this small little space by the ride. That way, these people are entertained while they're waiting in line, because I did see a couple people, leaving. So we don't want that. We don't want people leaving our lines. But anyhow, yeah, I do just really, I really appreciate a whole lot of Mononoke, though. The animation is obviously incredible. It was funny going to see the movie. One, it was super cool to see just how busy it was in the theater. There was quite a few people there. You know, obviously it wasn't like a full house or anything like that, but for being, a movie that's, let's see, how old is Mononoke is it 97? Okay, yeah, 97. Older movie, anime. I obviously Miyazaki movies sort of transcend any amount of. I don't like how that looks. I want my double loops to be kind of together. Miyazaki movies obviously sort of transcend past the typical. Well, it's an animation, and two, it's anime, which obviously turns off a ton of people for whatever reason, because they look weird. But thankfully, Miyazaki movies transcend that quite often, and the movie was in Japanese. It was the original version, which was really neat. I was curious if it was going to be the dub or the subs. I was very happy it was the subs. And thankfully the theater that we saw it in, the IMAX screen. So we have one IMAX screen where the way that the theater itself is kind of built is a little wonky. It's just kind of, there's like an upper area and then a lower area, like an upper mezzanine, I guess. And it's always hard to, if you're in the upper area, you're kind of like tall on the screen, but if you're in the lower, you're really close to the screen. So it's always kind of a tricky choice. I'm usually in the upper mezzanine, but this one was just your normal stadium seating, so it was easy to see the subtitles and everything, so I was thankful for that. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised at how many people were there. But one thing that was pretty funny was just how many little kids were there. Obviously, I was watching Miyazaki movies when I was, 10 and younger. But it was mostly Spirited Away that I was watching, or Totoro. I didn't watch Mononoke until I was a little bit older, and so it's just funny seeing little kids in Mononoke, just because the nature of the movie is pretty slow. There's a lot going on, for reading subtitles, there's kind of a lot that you have to keep up with, character-wise and story-wise. And again, especially reading subtitles, I'm just like, are these 8 and 10-year-olds able to keep up with this, or are they feeling a little lost? But it's super cool to see little kids in watching this stuff, and I'm sure they had a wonderful time. But yeah, it was a really great experience. It's just a wonderful movie, such great music, very intense and sad. Gotta love the environmental messaging, the classic kind of, I guess, tropes or themes that Miyazaki presents in a lot of his movies of, it's not always clear who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. There's always going to be a little bit of line, a little bit of grayness to who's good and who's bad in the world. One thing that really made me sad watching it was I think earlier in the day, I think it was that day, they announced that they were doing a Legend of Zelda movie. But of course it's going to be live action instead of an animated movie. And it was just so crazy watching this movie that had a whole lot of inspiration on Breath of the Wild especially, and just how cool this movie is and how beautiful and gorgeous, and just thinking about what the frickin' stupid live action Legend of Zelda movie is going to be in comparison to something that could be so beautiful and cool. But, you know, of course, you can't do animated movie. Animated movies are for freaking little kids, so you got to do something cool and badass, like a live action starring Tom Holland as Link and Zendaya as Zelda. It's just, I don't know. I really can't fathom, like, how cringy and embarrassing it's gonna be. Like, I don't know. It's so upsetting. Like, not that I would have ever had hope that an animated Legend of Zelda would be any good based off of the Super Mario movie, but at least in animation, there's, you know, it makes sense for it to be this crazy fantasy world with pig demons and monsters and elves and whatnot. And, you know, obviously we have things like Lord of the Rings that are high fantasy craziness, but at least those movies are based on books that have characters that do talk and characteristics that are more, I don't want to say in depth, because it's not like, I don't know, I guess Link doesn't have a huge amount of depth to him besides just being, you know, an adventurer and a hero and whatnot. So it's just like, what personality are they going to give to Link? I know he's going to probably be either, I don't know what route they're going to take with him. I don't know if they're going to try to make him cool and suave, or if they are going to make him, they'll probably take the route of making him, you know, it's a little intense. That's okay. Get on the ride, folks. They'll probably take the route of making him very jokey and silly and whatnot. And now, especially after the success of the Minecraft movie, you just know that it's going to be very silly probably, and it just a mess. I don't know. I always say that I try not to be too cynical about things and hopeful, but you just hear these certain ideas that are coming out for a movie, and it's just like, what else am I supposed to do besides just be horribly depressed that this is the route that they're taking with it? And I can guarantee it's going to come out and it will be successful, and it doesn't matter how I feel because it's going to make money. So hooray. But yeah, so anyhow, Princess Mononoke is a great movie. It's beautiful. It's very sad. And if you haven't seen Princess Mononoke, it's obviously a big recommendation from me. It's wonderful time. I rated it 4 stars on Letterboxd just because I wanted to, and I did. So yeah, so that's Mononoke. Another movie that I saw in the movie theaters, it's a newer movie, it was Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's newest movie. Steven Soderbergh's, I don't know, 5th movie this year. I feel like I always have hear, you know, Steven Soderbergh's next movie is coming out, you know. This is actually the first one that I have seen myself personally. I didn't see Presence, but I do want to watch that. And I don't know, I guess he's just been doing lots of stuff, obviously. So Black Bag just seemed interesting. I it's hard for me to turn down a 90-minute runtime when I see it. I go, ooh, 90 minutes, huh? So I went and saw this movie. I went alone to the movie. I told my partner, I was like, you probably wouldn't be too interested in this. So I'm just, oh yeah, there's one in Roller Coaster. You're probably not going to be too interested in this. It's spies and whatnot. So I went and saw it by myself, and it was fascinating after the movie. I was like, oh no, I should have brought my partner, because this is literally us. I didn't know that it was going to be such a tale of a relationship, a couple, and whatnot. It was very let's see, where can I freaking stick you, roller coaster? Yeah, I guess let's do it right here. Because this is going to be kind of a big roller coaster. So I guess let's do this. Really gotta think of space. I need one more roller coaster after this, so maybe I can try to think of something small. But yeah, so, I'm like, oh, it's a spy movie, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it turns out it's a spy movie, but it's about a couple, a spy. It's about their freaking relationship. And I was like, that's literally me, but literally us. It's a first literally us type film, which is pretty cool. It was a really solid time. I very much enjoyed it. It was nice and breezy. The 90 minutes went by very quickly. If you don't know, if you haven't heard of it, it's a spy movie. Michael Fassbender plays a British intelligence officer that's super good at his job, and he's an expert at deducing if people are lying. So he's always thrived in his field, and his boss comes to him and says, "Oh, our super weapon that we have got leaked by somebody within the group, within the gang," and they told Russian spies about it, or somebody, and so they've betrayed us, and you need to figure out who it was. And we sort of figured out who it might be, but the bad news is that your wife is on the list, and so he has to figure out, everything, what's going on, why his wife might be involved in this, and if his friends are his coworkers / friends. So it's a real spy mystery. So it's a really simple idea, easy to sort of follow, but what really carries it is just the characters and the situations that they get put in. A lot of the movie, not a lot of the movie, but a big piece of the movie revolves around these dinners that Michael Fassbender and his wife, who's played by Kate Blanchett, have to try to figure out who could possibly be the traitor. And so just kind of like they're, Michael Fassbender going through all of them and just trying to figure this out. So it's, it's very slick. It's very cool. It's very It's very sexy. A lot of people write when they talk about this movie for some reason. I never really. I don't know if I can put myself in the same thought process of saying, "Oh my god, this movie is so sexy." Definitely cool, you know. There's definitely Steven Soderbergh just kind of has like a fluidity to his movies where, you know, the way that things are shot and the way that things kind of move, both story wise, and the camera is just all very like fluid and nice, and everything feels so connected and purposeful. So it's a yeah, it's a really neat movie. It you know, I never really felt super connected, and maybe that's why I didn't think it was so sexy. I just didn't really feel super connected to the characters. Ooh, so you know, let's see here. So I don't know if I can, you know, that was just you know, something in it that I couldn't really say that I, you know, absolutely loved this movie just based off of like, okay, yeah, like I see, you know, kind of where they're going with the characters and, you know, who they're supposed to be, and they all just kind of aren't super great people, obviously. And I don't know if that's like all purposeful for you to be kind of like, I don't know if I like any of these people or not. But I certainly had that quite a bit where I was like, okay, I don't really care what you guys have going on. A lot of you kind of suck. And I don't care. I don't care who's the traitor. It's just, yeah, it's just much more about the yeah, for me, it was much more interesting just being a part of the investigation and figuring it out. It's a good time, kind of, you know, seeing all the spy things that Michael Fassbender's coming up with, and doing a lie detector test, and deducing what these people are saying and whatnot. So yeah, it's a very, very solid movie. And again, I did really enjoy how it concluded. The ending for sure kind of left a very good taste in my mouth. You know, or the first act was really great, and then the second act kind of started to not lose me, but I was just kind of like, okay, like I get what's going on here, and see where we're trying to get to, and you know, just wasn't as engaged, I guess I could say, with the second act of the movie. And then the third act in the finale was just kind of perfect for it. So it really saved the movie. Not saved, but made the end of the movie just kind of came in clutch, and it was like, oh yeah, that's an ending. And yeah, I did really like that it was, you know, the spy movie, but it was mostly about relationships and like interpersonal relationships at work, but also just your romantic relationships and the way that you kind of present your relationships to others, and the way that others perceive you in your relationships, and how that can be a good thing, but also a bad thing for others, because people can kind of see through your BS when you're saying your relationship is great and fine. So all very interesting. And then yeah, I did just like that. By the end, I was like, wow, that's so sweet of them to be so perfect for each other. Uh-oh. Do I not have any coverage? Let's see. Let me get some mechanic coverage here. I have so much money. So I'm just gonna hire a ton of help. There we go. But yeah, so very enjoyable movie. You know, if you want to watch a little spy movie, very recommended for that. But yeah, so in retrospect, it is also a movie that I would think that my partner actually might enjoy. You know, they're not a huge film person, but you know, she enjoys a good movie when I show those to her. So, you know, if you do have somebody in your life that you have a relationship with, and a great loving relationship, then hey, this movie actually might be a lot of fun for you to watch together, because it's so effing sexy. Actually, what's a sexy movie? Let me think if I can think of a movie that I personally would consider sexy. Jesus, why is the brake speed so high? Let's see. Sexy movies. I don't know. I guess if I think of a sexy movie, I think of like Jack and Jill, starring Adam Sandler. So, I guess I kind of get it. Actually, whoopsies. I keep showing you guys Sody. Let me put another block section right here. Block. Okay. Boom. Boom. And boom. Alright, let's see how this goes. Oh my god. Hanging over the edge. Is that okay? Are you gonna be okay? Yes. Look at it go. Wee. Okay. Interesting. Interesting ride. I don't know. This might not hit the the 6. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Jeez, okay. Cool. So, so I gave Black Bag a 7 out of 10. Very good movie, very enjoyable. Let's go check it out. Another movie that I watched was at home, a few-year-old movie, I guess freaking 5 years old already, was Shiva Baby. The Rachel Sennott, is that how you say their name? Rachel and written and directed, I believe, by written and written and directed by Emma Seligman. It is a movie about a woman that is a young Jewish woman that has a sugar daddy and dated her. I guess they grew up together. Dated another woman growing up, and she has to go to a Shiva, which is I am not Jewish, and I do not live on the East Coast, so unfortunately my knowledge of Jewish traditions are sadly pretty low, but I believe what the Shiva is just a kind of like a wake or a just a celebration of life for somebody who had recently passed away. So she was going to this, and the sugar daddy and her ex-girlfriend are both there as well. And she is questioned by all of her family members about what she's up to in life and what's new and what successful things she is up to, even though she is just kind of doing her own thing, taking it easy, not being a lawyer or a something that would be typically seen as successful. All of her family is also commenting on how she is so skinny, she's too skinny, and so it's just kind of this movie about dealing with family and the challenges of facing. Oh, I have this still going right here. Yeah. The challenges of dealing with expectations from family, especially extended family, where it's like, I don't really know you that well, don't really care what you think of me, but we kind of hold ourselves to these standards because that's what we believe we need to do. So yeah, it's just kind of a very very realistic movie. It all takes place within the day of this Shiva, and just all of these things that happen. It's kind of funny. It's, I guess, a dark comedy is how you would classify it. It's very, I see a lot of people compare it to, on Letterboxd, there's a lot of people saying like, oh, this is the Jewish, or I guess I can't say the Jewish because Uncut Gems is also a very Jewish movie. But I guess the girlies Uncut Gems is, I don't know, whatever. I've seen random reviews. And it very much does have that kind of feeling of Uncut Gems, where it's very claustrophobic and intense, and you're like, oh my god, I can't breathe, and the character obviously is stressed out, and I'm stressed out, and we're all stressed out, but it's very funny. It's very funny and very good time. I very much enjoy movies where it is kind of like breakneck and makes you feel a little, not uneasy, but a little like, oh my god, what is happening? I enjoy that type of movie, so I had a really good time with it. I do always appreciate when people, especially in, I'm assuming I'm sort of in the same age group as Rachel Snow, and I'm assuming probably Emma Seligman, since they're friends. Just kind of this age group where it's like, where do we start to sort of draw the line of the importance of traditions and the importance of living up to the standards of our families, and again, especially extended families, and just kind of dealing with that. It's I really do enjoy that take, and those seeing those feelings presented in a movie, because it is a lot of the times major bullshit having to think about how how your family is thinking of you, and it can weigh on you a lot, and it shouldn't really matter all that much what you want to do in life, as long as you are happy and content with who you are and what you are doing. What is going on? Why is it stuck there? Why is it done stuck there? Why is it doing that? So these types of coasters, what I have going on here is they have like these little cable lifts, so it comes down and it picks it up and it pulls it up fast. And I don't know, so usually the train waits in the station for it to come down, but it's going out, so I guess I'll have to wait until I finish the ride to see if I can figure out what's going on with that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It definitely, I think it, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna click out of this real quick. I believe this is based off of a Wody Man. Here, we'll look at it together. I believe the movie is based off of, I think this is is it a short story? Yes. Okay, yeah. So it's a short story originally, and I haven't watched it yet, but I would be interested in watching it to kind of see if that works better for me, because the full length, it's a short movie, but it kind of again, sort of the same thing with Black Bag, where it kind of got to its point, and I started to feel a little bit like, okay, like I understand what's happening. I see what is being communicated here, and I got it all. Is there going to be anything new? Because it is just kind of the same thing happening over and over, where it's just like, oh, well, I'm now having to deal with this person who's asking me these questions while I'm worried about my sugar daddy maybe saying something to his. Oh, the sugar daddy is married, and she wasn't aware of this, so that's also part of the drama. But yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, like, everything, it just kind of got a little repetitive for me. So, I would be interested in watching the short film and see if that is something that just kind of works a little bit better for me. And again, not that I dislike the movie at all. I super enjoyed it, but just not anything perfect for me. And it is, it's always a nice thing for me to kind of, I always say, like, to learn about these other perspectives, these other cultures and everything. I do always enjoy watching a movie where I can learn a little bit more about the way other people grew up and the families that they are in, because my family is not a traditional family in any way. We were very just kind of doing our own thing always, and so You know, he grew up around a lot of Mormons. Grew up in Utah, so lots of Mormons. Family is Mormon, but never. My family was never a part of it, so you know, we never had anything super traditional going on or super. Okay, let's see if this fixed it. Or anything like this type of situation. So, okay, it did fix it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think also part of it was it did sort of feel like there was a build-up going on always because of just the intensity, the intense nature of the movie. And it just kind of kept going along and along and along, and it was intense and crazy. Oh man, that was so slow right there. I'm gonna have to fix that because there's no way that's getting us to 6.0. But yeah, just kind of a steady build throughout the whole movie, and so by the end is kind of like, oh, and now, you know, problems are, you know, mostly resolved by the end, and not in the sense of like they didn't resolve the problems, but like the characters got to a point where it was resolved for them in the story. But there wasn't really much of a climax, I guess. A little bit, I guess. You know, I guess there was one scene that was probably considered the climax, and okay, watch this. We'll take it. Yeah, we did it. Woohoo! They say woohoo! They say good job, good job. Thanks for letting go of all your balloons, you jerks. Oh, the birds are gonna die. You monsters. Get out of my park! But yeah. But yeah, so it just kind of, you know, it didn't really lead to anything that felt super like satisfying at the end, where I was like, oh, okay, like a kind of like a breath of fresh air. There was, you know, a moment at the very end where it is a little bit of like a tender moment, and so you know, there was something there, but it just didn't fully like work for me in the sense of, you know, closing the story. So yeah, but super enjoyable. It's funny. It's, yeah, very nerve-wracking and very intense. So a pretty good time. I also gave this a 7. Very good movie. I might watch it again at some point in my life, but who knows. It's kind of where my 7s usually lie, are movies that are very good, that I liked a lot, that I maybe watch again at some point in the future. And I would. And, yep. Okay, well, yep, that's movies. And balloons. Look at all of them. They're so pretty. Oh. So, yeah. Thanks for watching or listening. Hopefully when I don't have a cold going on, I'll be able to use my dulcet tones to make this even more relaxing, and you can just turn this on while you're hanging out and relaxing yourself, and we'll continue to have wonderful discussions about movies, because movies are cool. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you think that movies are actually cool, or if you think they're drool. And okay, bye bye.